And it goes like this. I'm so thankful that I found the part where I stayed in the last video. Hey, what's up, Brave New World? It's Joshua again here with a brand new video in which I'm going to do a story time in which I tell you stories and you sit down and listen, alright? For which I would love to thank you, kind stranger, for staying right here, right now in this afternoon with us in order to sit down and listen to a delightful story by a random kind stranger online about this particular topic, that is, what is your moment? What's your they didn't know I spoke their language moment? And it goes like this, alright? The first story that we're gonna read, it's gonna be by Anum Dasgir says, at my workplace, people couldn't differentiate if we were Arab or Asian. They usually thought I was from Middle East, whereas I am in actuality from Pakistan. By the way, as you can see, as I'm reading the story, you might notice that I might take a few creative liberties. What do I mean by this? It means that I'm going to change a little bit. The grammar, and probably I'm going to paraphrase the story a little bit. But as a whole, I'm not going to change the story. You can trust on me on that. And it goes like this. At my workplace, Anum says that at my workplace, people couldn't really differentiate if we were Arab or Asian. A little pause. We need to double check. We need to emphasize. It is necessary to emphasize that Arab, it's not the same as Arabic, because one is a race, correct me if I'm wrong, and Arabic, of that one I'm sure, it's a language. So, they usually thought I was from the Middle East, whereas I'm actually from Pakistan. If someone would talk to me, we will usually communicate in English. So, the Arab people who knew I was from Pakistan, Urdu is spoken in there, they would talk around me in Arabic, and the Pakistani people thought I was Arab, would talk around me in Urdu. One more time. So the Arab people who knew I was from Pakistan would talk around me in Arabic, and the Pakistani people who thought I was Arab would talk around me in Urdu. And the same was with Indian people, you know? Hindi is similar to Urdu, so I could understand that too. The whole joke in this situation is that I could understand Urdu, Hindi, and even Arabic. So I usually used to laugh when they would talk around me, thinking I would not understand. Well, I understood almost everything. And then what happened? When they would ask me something in English later on, and I reply them in their language, usually their mouths would stay open. The funniest moments ever. And here is my reply. Well, you have to appreciate that they were not talking shit about you or anything or anything like that. I'm so glad that your experience is in general a laughing one. A general one that makes you laugh. That's good, actually. Continue with Maria Emilia. No! What did I do? No. Oh, thank goodness I'm back. Maria Emilia says, an Argentinian friend of mine was checking in a hotel somewhere in Europe. He puts his camera on the counter while speaking English with the receptionist, who immediately warned him to watch his possessions, because a group of Argentinians had just arrived at the hotel. I think I understand the joke. The joke here is that they assume that us Latin Americans, be they from Mexico, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Venezuela, or Colombia, we are usually stereotyped as being criminals. And let's be honest, unfortunately, Pablo Escobar from Colombia has perpetuated this kind of negative view. Alright? No, that's funny. Ariana Betzin says, I lived in Egypt for 2 years and my Arabic was good enough for everyday life. Once my friend and I walked by a store, and the two guys standing by the door were talking about the fact all European women are hookers. I looked at him smiling and replied in Arabic, but too expensive for you. It was priceless. Oh my god. Hookers, by the way. Hooker, that is hooker with Hookers. Hookers. Oh my god. I would like to know what? I would like to know how you say that. How you say that in Arabic. Now, Nuriye Chapulski says, I was being sewn up after a cesarean, and the person assisting the doctor decided to make rude remarks about my body. Oh my god. Hey. Oh my god. You have my sympathy, and at the same time, oh my god, now that's rude. Even if I am totally against, I'm not totally in favor of body positivity, and I think that some of it is totally bogus. I do not endorse randomly insulting people, especially women who just gave birth. Oh my god, this is so rude and this is so wrong on so many levels. And my dear Nuria, you have my sympathy. You have my sympathy. Also, you could have said something in that language. Period. I mean, comma, I guess. What's next? Jason. Jason says. Jason Cass. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Jason Casse says, while volunteering in the Philippines, I overheard two Japanese men having breakfast at the next table. Overheard isn't the right word, because they were being very, very loud. Extremely loud. He said very. However, I replaced the word very by extremely. So they were talking about how good of an idea it was to lie to their wives about a business trip and spend a week in the red light district. Funny, and it's funny, you know. And I didn't say anything until they started using really derogatory words towards their waitress. Oh my god. I pointed out that just because someone doesn't understand you, it doesn't mean you are not being a jerk. I've never seen middle-aged men blush so hard. Well, being loud, I have to discuss that. I agree. I think that being loud is not the same as being rude or a jerk. So you can be as loud as you want, as long as you are not disrespectful, but also still there are limits, alright? Don't be a rude, loud jerk in a public place. Regardless of what language you're doing it, don't do it. Oh my god, this guy or this lady has definitely a really Arabic looking name, so let me try it. Howloat Fessi. Howloat. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it goes like this. I was in a store in Egypt and I was with a friend who didn't speak Arabic. So we were talking in English and there were two guys working at the store standing in front of me talking about how I look and having a debate which South African country I am from. I let them talk for a few minutes and then turned to them and answered in Egyptian. Dude, I'm Tunisian. Can you tell me where I can find la 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 la? She answered in Egyptian Arabic, I suppose, of course. I forgot what was the thing I asked for at the time. Delightful story through and through. Delightful story nonetheless. That's my reply to you, dear Holout. By the way, comma, your name looks stunning. Do you mind elaborating on the meaning of your name, please? I like it. Holout. I like that. Holout. Now that sounds good. Let us continue with the next story that goes like this. Angela Berry says, I don't have a story yet because I am from the US and I've never been outside the US, you know. I speak English, just a teeny bit of French, and barely any Spanish. I would be more likely to understand a conversation in French, but since I have never encountered French-speaking people where I live, because I have never encountered French-speaking people where I live. I do encounter Spanish-speaking people, though. So this should motivate me to learn some more Spanish, so I can eavesdrop on some Spanish conversations. uh, my response is, well, I don't endorse and encourage you to eavesdrop on other people's conversations. I do encourage you to learn another language. Let us do it, alright? Let's continue. And it goes like this. Lara Karaskova says, I don't have a spicy story, unfortunately, but a few years ago, I had a friend from Canada visit me, and at every cafe and restaurant we went to, the staff thought I was a foreigner as well. Until I say, it's fine, you can speak Czech to me. Oh my god, Czech! One man even asked whether my dad was from England or something, which made me laugh because I learned English myself, and I don't have a British accent, lol. RP British accent is fascinating, alright? And by RP, naturally, I mean received pronunciation, which is the kind of understandable perceived way of speaking which people might associate with Britain or something like that. Do correct me if I am wrong, please. Psst. Francesca replies, when I am in the Czech Republic speaking Czech pretty badly, people always want to know if my family is Czech. I'm actually British and I'm teaching myself Czech. But this seems to surprise Czech people. You have the most beautiful language in the world and are still surprised that I want to speak it. I guess because from Lada replies, I guess because from a purely practical standpoint, it doesn't really make sense to learn Czech to most people. It's annoyingly difficult, doesn't make a lot of sense. I'd say half of native speakers can spell properly, and most importantly, you can't use it anywhere except the Czech Republic and Slovakia. At least, pronunciation is easy except the R with the special hat on it. The person replied to me, and that's nice. Oh, someone with a name written in the Cyrillic alphabet replied, and he says, by the way, his name is Gector Guzman. It seems to be that this guy is either a Spanish-speaking person writing his name in Cyrillic alphabet or an actual Russian person or the speaker of a language that happens to use the Cyrillic alphabet. It can be Russian or anything, I don't know. Oh, Anum has replied to my answer. Let's have a look at what we have right here. So he replies with... he replies by saying, well, you have to appreciate that they were not talking shit about you. Even if they did talk shit, I would enjoy it lots. Glad to know it. I'm so glad to know it. I am so glad to know it. I still haven't had I still don't have a story like that. I still don't have a story like this. However, it's fascinating. So, Gector says, when I was in a taxi in Russia, the lady driver was genuinely surprised to hear that I was speaking in Russian. Sorry. Anusha June says, I walked by a group of Iranian adults. One of the women started making fun of my clothes and shoes. I turned around and said to her in Farsi, I understand everything you're saying. She and her group looked embarrassed, and one of the men asked, are you Iranian? I replied, no, thank God, I'm Jewish. No, thank God, I'm Jewish, and walked away. Damn it. Mark Bosley says, I've had that in all 4 languages that I speak, and that's several times in each, says Mark. JSMR Sackett says, I remember reading this a couple of months ago when my internet was really crappy, and it says, this happened to me in Australia. I am Thai. I was waiting for the traffic light to cross the street when there was a group of people speaking Thai. That's my cat. Did you hear that? I don't know if my microphone enables you to hear that, but my cat just meowed at me, and I appreciate that. This happened in Australia. I'm Thai. I was waiting for the traffic light to cross the street, and there was a group of people speaking Thai, and I heard them chatting about me, how I looked so fat in my leggings, and they almost puked. Oh my god. I heard them chatting about me, about how I look so far in my leggings that they almost puked. Oh my god. They proceeded to play their guessing game of what origin I came from and came to the assumption that I must be either Indonesian or Chinese. I turned around and let them know I am Thai. Not very nice to meet them. But then the light changed and I had to go, so I didn't get to have a longer conversation. All of them were just stopped and staring in shock, and the look on their faces the looks on their faces were totally priceless. How fascinating is that? Really, it is. How fascinating is that? Let's continue with Chris Nolan. He says, looking for some souvenirs in the back streets of Arashiyama in Japan. This happened to me. The shopkeepers smiled when we entered and then started talking amongst themselves. So many foreigners, they like to steal. Keep an eye on them. It just went on and on. I hold up a shirt and my friend says, Yo nyo te harimasu ne. Yo nyo terimasu ne. This one looks really nice on you. I reply, yeah. So da yo ne. So da yo ne. Yeah, I know. The look on the faces of the shopkeepers was totally priceless. I love that. Really, I love this kind of stories, And it's 5 minutes after 3 o'clock, so in 10 more minutes we finish this, right? Barbara Sella, this must be Sella, S-Z for zebra, it goes like, says. I found a shoemaker to have my shoes fixed. I waited a few seconds to be served as the guy was talking to another one in Farsi. I didn't expect to hear that language in Brooklyn, nor did I expect somebody to understand their language. I'll never forget the shock I gave them when I responded in Farsi. It would be amazing to trade all the... If I had a genie grant me a wish, I would love to be able to speak pretty much all the languages I want. And I would make a list, of course, but... it would be hard, whatever. Let us continue. Oh, yes, Barbara says that, and now let's continue with the next story that is by Catalina Garcia. Catalina Garcia says, so I was 15, and we were visiting my cousin in the US. I am from Chile, South America, for those who don't know where we are. My cousin invited her boyfriend, and me and my sisters were chatting about random things and laughed a lot. So he was really confused. He considered we were mentally challenged or something and seriously asked my cousin if we were, to which we almost had a heart attack reacting to it. So I said, no, we're not retarded, we're just making fun at your face, because he was holding my sister's newborn and looked like he was gonna kill him. It was a moment to consider if we would take it seriously or get angry at him or just laugh about how oblivious he was. To be honest, I like that word, oblivious. Oblivious means to forget in Latin. For example, ne oblivis camini manus lavari. Ne oblivis camini manus lavari. Don't forget to wash your hands. Oblivis camini, that's the imperative after the word ne in Latin. Oblivis camini, or oblivis camini if you are using the ecclesiastical pronunciation. Ewa Idrin says, I was in a table tennis tournament once in New Zealand, and I was telling my doubles partner what spin I will serve in Cantonese. My serve is usually good enough to dominate the whole game, but this Indian person just managed to return everything. So I ended up losing the game, and the Indian guy's doubles partner said I speak Cantonese. Next time you better go back to doing hand signs under the table. Sorry, but I didn't understand this one because unfortunately this person, whom I'm not going to trash for that reason, is writing her sentences or his sentences in a rather lazy way. Oh my god, he's just there. Oh, isn't she lovely? What's up, baby? What's up, baby? I love you. So, Carolina Reinhardtsen says, people always assume I am American because of my skin and my accent in English. And so, one time, a family of Argentinians were talking shit in Spanish about my body in a bikini at a public beach. So I started cursing as loud as I could in my Mexican Spanish with the excuse that the water was cold. Their faces were priceless. Never assume they don't speak a language, that's for sure. Unless yours is a really local language in a really dark place from the country. We, Mexico, for example, we have a lot of indigenous people who speak their language. And to be honest, that's a little bit hard for us to learn because, well, all I can tell you is that they are really uncommon. And Spanish is more common, so that should give you an idea. Mixteco, Tzotzil, Nahuatl, Tzotzil, Mixteco, and things like that. That's all I know. Americans have English accents? Oh. Says Rachel, and that's not important. Gisli Hickman says, I was running a crane a few years. Oh my god, I think I have already read this. Oh my god. I think I have already read this one. I'm not sure. I'm gonna read it anyways. So, Grizzly Hickman says, I was running a crane a few years back with a Mexican rigger and a crew of Mexican iron workers. I understand Spanish better than I can speak it, so I never spoke anything aside from English. I got along well with the crew, but my rigger and I were like oil and water. I'd listen to him backstab me on a daily basis, but I kept my mouth shut, and I just let him flap his gums. It really didn't matter so long as the work got done, which was his basis of discontent with me. One morning we were having a crew meeting when I began to address a few safety concerns I had observed. The rigger starts running his mouth pretty bad in Spanish, talking about everything from my family lineage to my dog. I was pretty pissed, but considering the circumstance, remained calm and held my peace. Some of the crew laughed, but others couldn't look me in the eye. I went to the crane, went through my morning inspection, filed up my paperwork and permits, all while pondering the best way to bring this to an end. A couple of hours later, the rigger attaches a steel panel to my hook, then signals me to cable up. But he's standing in the coil of rope for the tech line. I just sat and did nothing. He gets on the radio and gives me the verbal direction that I just sit there. He starts hollering insults in Spanish while motioning wildly for me to cable up. Meanwhile, the iron workers are looking down from their man basket, watching what's going on. And they are beginning to laugh, but he doesn't realize they are laughing at his stupid ass, which is still standing smooth up in the middle of the rope coil. He gets the mic again and begins screaming slowly, "Cable up, pendejo!" It's something like, "Levanta el cable, pendejo! Pick up the cable, you idiot!" So I slide the door open in my cab, then motion for him to come stand by the crane. When he gets there, I key the mic so everyone in the man basket can hear. Lean out the door and say, "I'm the dumbass. You're the one standing on the coil of rope telling me to cable up." He's flushed red. He is flushed red as the realization of his legs being yanked out from under him as he flew up in the air was clearly sinking in. Oh my god. The whole crew was laughing so loud we could... What? The crew was laughing so loud we could easily hear him even over the idle of the diesel motor. He was still standing, red-faced, when I keyed the mic again and said, Mi amigo está estúpido por la pendejo. Which is precisely when his face turned white and he said, You speak Spanish? For how long? Long enough to hear about all the shit you've been talking about me for weeks now. Now, ¿cómo está, pendejo? My friend is stupid because of the idiot. That's really broken Spanish, but hey, you understand it? You understand it. That's for sure. And with that new surge of laughter, my rigger walked off to the managed office and demanded to be put on a different crane. But the crew stayed with me. This kind of stories is why I live. I live for these kind of stories. Honestly. I am making a video as of August? No. Yes, as of September 7th. So this is the last comment, the last story that I read. Thanks for sharing it. Thank you so much for sharing it. Celia Bompas says, Well, we were in my family business. I was 12, native Greek speaker, and there was this French family that they were dissing on us for no apparent reason. So I was sitting right there reading my book, blah, 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 and one of the kids goes like, what if she can understand? And they all look at me and look back and they all look at me and I look back at them and they change subject, really stressed out. But hey, you never answer yes. She's a total bitch. We're fucked, says Kelly, as Lanidu wore the crown proudly. Totally. Hey, Becky. Becky is this particular person who I know, and she's from a cold place. Becky Kilavak says, in Uganda, two older ladies were talking about how I must be finding the heat unbearable, as I am an Inuk Eskimo and heavier set with long, thick hair. And I turned to them and I said in Luganda, yes, I'm really hot. You should have seen their faces. Oh, delightful story. Delightful story. This will be included in my video of stories. And let's continue with one more. Oh my god. Sirena Reynolds says, someone called me a stupid girl in Polish. I replied in Polish that I was not. Don't be rude. To be honest, everything improved with me and my colleagues after that. How would you say stupid girl in Polish? I'm curious. I am curious now as to how to say that in Polish. I mean, the exact words. Anyway. Anyway. This is the last story that I read. This is the last story that I read about languages. I am making a video. This is the last. The last one I read. Thank you so much. And I can understand, and I stay right there. Oh my god, I still have so many stories to read. Thank you so much for staying right here, right with us, Brave New World. I would like to thank you again for viewing it. And if you make it up this far, wow, you are a ducking beast. You are a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal, you know. Click the like button, and if you feel like it, Feel free to subscribe if you would love to, if you would love more stories like this to be in this particular channel, right? And that's it, and have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, depending on what time you're watching this. Farewell, Brave New World.